and I'd like to welcome you to another episode of Rambling of an Analyst. In this episode, I'm actually doing a staycation, and I'm actually around my neighbors and whatnot. So if someone were to shout at me or something, I do apologize if I have to stop this episode all of a sudden. But I guess in this episode, as per what the title suggested, is that I shall talk a little bit about the downside of investing in warrants. Okay, so I guess to recap, right? If some of you have been following me for quite some time, I have created an episode not too long ago. In fact, in September, the episode title was entitled "Spike in COVID Cases: How It Will Impact Bursa Malaysia." And in that episode, if you guys were to watch the episode, I made a couple of suggestions. And amongst the stock which I suggested was Maybank and also YTL Hospitality REIT. At that point in time, I guess Maybank was trading at 7 ringgit. And I guess if any of you guys were I guess, lucky enough to actually buy a bit of Maybank, today, Maybank actually went to a high of almost 9 ringgit, and today it's trading at 8.20. And another thing was the YTL Hospitality REIT, whereby it was trading at 72 cents, and now it is 86 cents, right? And I think one of the reasons why I've suggested these two stocks is that at that point in time, I still remembered that both these stocks had a dividend yield of 8%. So the stock price actually has dropped quite significantly to a level that the dividend yields was 8%. And at that point in time, ASB was paying, I guess, returns of about 4%. And for me, it was no brainer switching from ASB to a blue chip like Maybank. And lo and behold, I actually bought lots and lots of Maybank right until the end of the year. Okay, and one of the reasons why I continued buying Maybank, if any of you guys remembered, was that the government actually gave a couple of announcements post the COVID, or post, I think, the third lockdown. They said that they wanted to revive the economy, and one of the ways they wanted to revive the economy is by introducing new projects within Malaysia. So there were a couple of mega projects which the government was looking to do. And in my mind, if there was any mega projects which was going to be implemented, what's going to happen is that there's going to be more work. And when there's more work, there's going to be more raw material, more resources, so on and so forth. And one of the, I guess, beneficiaries for that would be Maybank. So at that point in time, I was Maybank was paying a relatively high dividend yield, and on top of that, there was an upward catalyst for the stock. So I think in February or March, if you guys were following me, I actually showed my portfolio, and at that point in time, my Maybank warrants was not doing so well, and I think one of the reasons why was that post January or post the New Year's, what happened was that the government, in terms of the rollout of the mega projects, it did not roll out as per what the market expected. And when most of the mega projects weren't rolled out, what happened was the stock price actually was relatively flat. Okay. And I guess right now I'm going to tell you the downside of investing in warrants. Hang on, let me change my hands. I'm actually holding the phone right now, so I'm doing my live using my phone. Okay. So what happened was that if you look, the Maybank stock, I actually managed to buy sorry. So I'm actually managed to buy Maybank. I actually had this particular skill of buying Maybank at its almost all-time high. And if you manage to capture high stock at an all-time high, what happened was eventually the stock keep on going downwards, and right now I'm actually at a loss. So right now, let's go down to one of the main disadvantage of investing in warrants. So one of the main disadvantage for investing in warrants is that warrants has an expiry date, right? So assuming if I bought a warrant, right, and the warrant is going to expire by June, right? But at this point in time, I'm making some losses for the warrant. So by July, right, since the warrant is going to expire by June, by July, the warrant will be worth nothing lah, since it's already expired, right? So even though I'm at a loss-making position, I'm forced to sell some of my shares or some of my warrants. And this is what's happening to me right now, whereby I have some Maybank warrants and it's actually underwater and it's going to expire by June. So the big question is, actually not much of a question. I don't have much of a choice but to start selling off my warrants before July, since my warrants are going to expire by June, right? So unlike stocks, warrants has an expiry date, and if if the warrants are at a loss, we are forced to sell that warrant even though it is at a loss. So right now, with the Maybank warrants I have, right, looking at how the government is I guess rolling out the mega projects, and on top of that, looking at the priorities of where the country is heading towards, which is fighting the pandemic, I don't think there'll be much mega projects which are going to be rolled out. And when there's not much of mega projects going to be rolled out, then there is going to be very little activity. And when there's very little activity, there's going to be very little finances which is needed. So at this point in time, my investments in Maybank warrants does not look as good. But having said that, if we want to look at buying Maybank and buying a blue chip at a discount, maybe it's time to actually look at the stock. I think right now the Maybank stock has dividend yields of about 6.5%, which is still very, very good for blue chip. And the best time to buy anything is at a discount. And Maybank is a relatively strong company. My small little suggestion is, for me, I'll be looking towards buying the Maybank stock, since Maybank is relatively cheap. And if I'm an ASB investor, right, and since ASB is paying dividends of about 4-ish%, any stock which pays a little bit above 4 or 5%, it's relatively attractive. And since Maybank is a big blue chip stock, the risk is relatively low for any for it to go under, so to speak. So with that, I'm going to finish this particular episode. But having said that, I'm going to actually come up with another episode whereby I'm going to talk a little bit about US stock. Yes, I already started buying in a US stock. It's called SKILLZ, and I think I made about 30% in one day. Amazing. The US market is crazy amazing. So I'm going to talk about that in the next episode. My hands are a bit tired carrying my handphone camera, so I'm going to take a little break. My hands are going to take a little break, and I'm going to come back in maybe 30 minutes. And I see a live audience right now. Just want to say hi to you. But before I end, is there any questions before I end this episode? Going once, twice. All right, guys. With that, this would be my very first live episode using my handphone. Oh, and it's I have to say, it's really my hands are getting a bit numb just holding the camera. With that, take care, and I hope to see you guys in the next episode. I'm trying to end this live right now.